What's going on, people? Welcome to the player ratings. It's me, D, talking about the performances from the Fulham game. Of course, a 3-0 defeat. Not many positives, and I'm not going to be holding back on this. But as always, let us know your thoughts on the game by leaving down your player ratings in the comment section down below. And if you do enjoy the video, make sure to smash a like button and hit subscribe. Let's not waste any time, and let's start off with the goalkeeper, Vicente Guaita. For me, in this game, funny enough, it was a 7. Yes, we conceded 3 goals, and you could have made an argument that we could have conceded more, and that's the reason why I'm giving 7. He made 7 saves today, and if it wasn't for some of the saves that he made, it was one-on-one situations and other crosses coming into the box. I thought he looked pretty solid. The only negative was his distribution, which was around 50%. It wasn't that great, but in all honesty, Hugh's distribution was good in this game. We couldn't pass as a whole team, but if it was for Vicente Guaita, I think it could have been much worse. So I'm giving him a 7. I think he was the best player on the pitch. Moving on to the right back now, Nathaniel Klein. I'm giving it a 4. Giving it a 4 because the way he started the game, he just didn't look comfortable. I don't know what you guys think as well. He just didn't look comfortable. And it brings me back to the same thing about right back situation. With Klein, you will have some good games, and he has some very good games for Palace, but you also have games like this. He's not the youngest. He can't run up and down the pitch continuously, but it just seemed like he wasn't at it from minute 1. I don't think it's anything to do with energy or anything like that. Maybe Fulham were too good for him. Maybe he just wasn't switched on, but he didn't look that great. And in the second half, when he did get subbed off for Joe Ward, it pretty much summed it up. The game was over, but Vieira still decided to change it back because he was just getting absolutely bad. But even a 4, you could say, was a nice rating for him. I think he could have been even lower than that. So I didn't think he had a great game, Klein. And moving on to the centre halves, Joachim Andersen, 6.5. Funny enough, despite considering 3 goals, he was basically playing defence by himself. And I'm going to talk about the other player. Yes, James Tomkins next. But I thought his distribution wasn't too bad. I think there was 1 or 2 moments where he had some nice balls in behind, which was very rare on the day because we struggled all game long. And I think that helped. And also defensively, he wasn't too bad as well. 73% for his distribution. Made 10 clearances as well. 1 block shot, interception, tackle as well. So all around, his defensive game was pretty good despite him having no support in there. So yeah, I think Joachim Andersen had a pretty solid game despite us conceding 3-0. I'm moving on to the next centre back, and this one I'm not going to hold back. Look, I would say this. I gave him a 1, yes. I think it was that type of performance. Maybe you're thinking I'm overreacting. I just think he done absolutely nothing good in this game. But saying this once again, I don't think it was his fault. He's not built for the system, James Tomkins. He should have been subbed off at halftime because I thought that first half alone, that warranted a change at halftime at least. I think it was that bad. And in the second half, of course, he got a red card. It was one of the worst performances I've seen in a very long time. And that's just me being real. And there's no point in me hiding it. That's what I think. And let us know, or let me know if you guys agree or disagree with that. But for me, James Tomkins, absolutely horrible game. Got a yellow card in the first half. Ended off with a red card, and I think that pretty much sums it up. So I gave him a 1. I'm moving on to another player that got a red card in this game, Tyrick Mitchell. As you can see, I gave him a 3. Before the red card, he wasn't awful for me to give him a 1 or 2, but he wasn't also great. I think it was a silly challenge, a challenge that he should know better as well. It pretty much took us out of the game so earlier on red cards. We're already 1-0 down. It didn't help us at all. But yeah, look, Tyrick has been struggling for a while. There's no surprise about that. And in this game, he didn't play for that long. And when he did play, we didn't have that many great moments with Tyrick on the pitch. So overall, I could have given him a 4 or maybe a 5. But with the red card, I think he has to be a 3. I don't think he had a particularly great game. And moving on to the midfield, Cheick Doucouré, I gave it 6.5. And the reason for this is because he basically had to play midfield by himself. And I'm going to talk about other players. Of course, we had midfielders, quotation mark there, because I don't know if you can count them as midfielders. But he was just getting outrun. And at times, he's done fantastically to get the ball and try to distribute it, but he was just getting overwhelmed. But despite that, I thought we had a pretty solid game for the 9 minutes. I felt sorry for him because he basically has to do everything for the team, which is very unfair because it's a team performance. But when you have 3 players running at him and he's got no other support, what can I say? I thought he done well with the situations he was in. He wasn't too bad defensively. He tried to ping the ball forward as well at times, even though it didn't quite work out because of how we were playing. It didn't suit us. But yeah, Doucouré, I think, was a positive in this game, despite the 3-0 defeat. And he had a lot to do, considering the red card with the centre back and the left back as well, covering all types of spaces throughout the game. So I thought we had a solid game. Moving on to next midfielder, Jeffrey Schlupp. 3. Yes, I'm giving him a 3. And I thought we had a relatively okay second half playing at left back, or even first half when Tyrick Mitchell got sent off. But he's not a midfielder. He's not a midfielder. And in all honesty, I think I'm being nice. I could have given him a 2 as well in this game. There were so many times where, I don't know if the stats back this. I'll read the stats in just a second. He gets the ball, and then he gives it to James Tomkins. Tomkins gives it back. He gives it back to James Tomkins, and Tomkins just boots it up. There's no creativity there. Easy to run by. Done nothing when he did get the ball. And I honestly think we need another midfielder in there. If that's Will Hughes, let it be Will Hughes. I think in this game, Schlupp was just too negative. We needed someone to pick up the ball midfield and actually turn around, make forward passes. And he just didn't do it enough. And when he did do it, it didn't work out. I thought it was a shambles of a performance in midfield. And that's why Doucouré got outrun. And that's why, we struggled in this game. The first goal came from that side, and that was not a surprise. It was Tomkins and Jeffrey Schlupp. Disaster class, and we paid for it, and especially midfield. I don't think Jeffrey Schlupp should start midfield again for us unless it's needed. I think we've got other options there, and I thought we had a very, very bad game in this one. And Michael Olise, he also started in midfield. I gave him a 4. He had 1 or 2 good moments where he picked up the ball and tried to run past the players, but other than that, it goes back to the same thing that I was saying all show long, where service, he didn't get the service. So there's only so much that he can do, but when he did get the ball, he wasn't too bad, in my personal opinion. I don't think he had a great game. He could have done better with some opportunities. But yeah, if you consider with the amount of service that he got and what he done with the ball at times, it wasn't awful. It could have been better. I'm just giving him a 4. Don't think it was that great. James Tomkins appears on the screen once again. He's haunting us. Eze, now, I gave him a 5. The reason for that is I thought it was an average performance, but one, he was playing in a position that he shouldn't play that. The red card kind of ruined that as well. But initially starting, he was playing out wide. Now, that goes down to Vieira. I think when you look at Ebbs, I think his best position is behind the striker. That's where he has a freedom. That's where he can do damage. And Elise, funny enough, should probably be playing out wide in them situations. I think Ez is better through the middle. But in this game, he tried to put in a shift. Maybe the link-up play could have been better with Wilf, but I don't think his performance was too far off Elise's for me. I think both of them had a pretty average game, and they just didn't get the service. And when they did, they didn't create that many chances. And for that reason, I'm giving Ebbs a 5. But playing through the middle, that's the most important thing coming out of this rating. Next up, not Elise. Jordan, are you out wide? You know what? He had a big chance. I was going to give him a 6.5, but he had that decent opportunity, hit the crossbar, and I think that pretty much sums it up. But other than that, he had passion. He was tracking back. He was putting in a good shift, which is good. But for me, I always expect better, especially from wide player. I don't think his production is up there in terms of goals and assists, and you saw it with the opportunity that he had. But if you're looking at today's performance, 3-0 down, he's still putting a shift throughout the time that he was playing. So I will give him a 5.5. It's just bit better than average. Would have been better if he done half decent with the opportunity that he got, which he didn't. But that pretty much sums it up. Passion was there. Quality, nowhere to be seen. And moving on to the final player in the starting 11, Wilfried Zaha. I gave him a 5. I didn't want to give him any lower. And you might disagree with me. Let me know in the comment section down below. But the reason I gave him a 5 is what can the guy do? He didn't have a worse performance than average. He didn't have a performance that warrants him above a 5. I think he was just bang average performance, and that was due to him not getting any service. He played up front just like the Forest game, where we're just booting the ball up to him. We know that he's not good in the air like that, so I don't know what we was expecting. There was no real service around him. He didn't get many opportunities to run at defenders. I would have preferred him actually out wide as the game went on, because it clearly wasn't working through the middle. I would have liked to see a bit of change. That didn't happen, but it was an average performance. And if you're looking at Wilfried Zaha's touches, which I'm actually curious about in this game, only 25 touches, only 25 in 90 minutes. And we're talking about our best player, which pretty much sums up how the game went for us. But yeah, Wilf, 5, not his fault entirely, because he didn't simply get the service. But that's it for my player ratings. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Disappointing defeat, not the end of the world. We'll be back looking at more Palace news, content, in the upcoming weeks and days. So make sure to subscribe to Back of the Nest if you haven't already done so. And until next time, up the Palace.